Hey everybody, Dave and Ann here, and what we are going to share with you today is one of our favorite recipes at Casa Bromez. It's lemon chicken with shallots and capers. So this is a rundown on what you're going to need. Some kosher salt, some nice olive oil, probably a cup or so, maybe a little bit more of some all-purpose flour. Some capers. You don't have to go crazy on the quality there, but you're probably going to use 2-3 teaspoons, maybe a couple tablespoons full of capers. Some coarse black pepper, 2 nice ripe lemons, 1 large shallot, some salted butter, and of course boneless chicken breasts. So the first thing you're going to want to do is chop up your shallots, and they don't need to be chopped that fine because they're going to go in later as part of the sauce that we'll be making, and they're just going to saute with the capers and the butter and the lemon juice. So I just like to kind of go back and forth, crisscross cut. You don't really have to chop too finely. Then once you've got it cut up like this, maybe give it another coarse chop or so, but don't go too nuts on this. So the next thing we want to do is juice the lemons, and if you've got a juicer, great. If you don't, here's a really easy way to do this. I like to roll them out just to get them soften up so the juice comes out a little bit easier. Cut them both in half, get a bowl, and just strain it through your hands, through your fingers. Catch all those seeds. So the next thing we want to do is put that flour, so it's about a cup or so, and then you're going to want to season it with some pepper. And again, this is all to taste, but you can see, it's probably, I don't know, half a teaspoonful of pepper, whatever you want to do. And then the kosher salt, I like to use, and do a fair amount. You're not going to use all this salt, but it's just going to ensure that it mixes in well. So give that a mix, and then the next thing you're going to want to do is get your chicken that's been cleaned and washed, of course, and dried off. And you're just going to want to dredge it through the flour and just get a good coating on it. It doesn't have to be too crazy or too thick or anything like that, just a nice good coating. So after you've done that, then you're going to want to brown the chicken in a pan with olive oil. And unfortunately, this is the part that I thought was filming but did not film. So I like to use a cast iron skillet and fill it probably with a 1/4 inch or so of olive oil in the bottom, and you put all the chicken in, and it should look like this when it's done. So just get a good brown on it. I don't know, it probably takes 5-10 minutes on the side. And what I like to do is just throw that whole cast iron pan into the oven and just bake it for until it's done. So it's usually in about a half hour or so like that, and then I can take the pan back out and transfer the chicken out and into another serving dish where I can throw it back in the oven. So what we're going to do now is make the sauce, the lemon sauce with the capers and the shallots. So I've got a half a stick of salted butter, and once I get that paper off, throw that back in the pan. I'm just using the pan that I used to brown all the chicken in that was in the oven. So like I said, the chicken's back in the oven, still cooking a little bit, so you can kind of do 2 things at once. So throw the shallots in with the butter and mix that around a little bit. But before you do that, get your capers. And I just like to use a fork because it doesn't get all the juice, and you can see, a couple good forkfuls. And I like to throw a little bit extra in there because I know Ann loves capers. So just all to taste. So that's kind of what it looks like all in, and you just want to stir it all around, let the butter melt, let it all saute till it gets to looking something like this. So the shallots have all cooked down, and you don't have to bring it to a boil or whatever, just a nice simmer. Then take that reserved lemon juice that you squeezed earlier, mix it in, and just go a little bit of it at a time. I like to save a little bit extra for the end because the sauce tends to thicken up, and I can always add a little bit more to make it thin in the end. So after it's cooked down for a few minutes, this is kind of what it looks like. So it's a really tasty sauce, and really super easy to make. So I've turned the heat down and just let it sit in that pan. So you can see these are the chicken breasts that I put into that serving dish, and so you're kind of doing two things at once. You're using this serving dish later to just pour all the sauce over the chicken. So I like to take those breasts out and just cut them into big chunks. You know, take anything off that you don't want in the dish itself. And like I said, I just like to take the knife and cut big pieces, and then I'll probably take these guys and split them in half again. So do that with all your chicken, cut it up into kind of bite-sized pieces, and then when you've got all that done, you can just toss it back into that serving dish. In this case, it's this Corningware pot that we have. And I just like to put it all back in there because you don't have another pot to wash later. And then once you've got it all diced up, you got to get the sauce back and ready. So you can see it's been kind of sitting just in the hot pan, not on the heat. And I put the rest of the lemon juice in there, so it kind of thins it out a little bit, and it's not so thick. And again, it just adds that nice lemony taste to it. I mean, it's super lemony, and you guys can do this to taste. Maybe like a lot of lemon, maybe not like so much, maybe some more butter, but just experiment with that. So now that everything's been all chopped up, you just pour this sauce over the chicken and mix it all up, and there you go. I mean, serve it with a salad, or we like to do roasted cauliflower, which maybe will be another recipe. But it's super easy. There's a little bit of prep, but it's really tasty, and like I said, it's a favorite around here. So here are the ingredients. You can stop the video, take a screenshot, or whatever you want to do, and it's not a whole lot of stuff, and it's really, really super easy. So I think you'll find it really tasty. Give it a shot and let us know what you think.